How you guys doing? Welcome to the Encourager Hour with Danny Sneed, the Encourager. This is going to be a fast-paced hour of empowerment, enlightenment, education. It's just a roller coaster ride of a whole lot of things. But what I like to think about is, for me, is I want to use my lived experience to tell a story of what happened, but how what happened got better. But to tell this story, I wanted to bring along some support. So here with me, I have two influences that have been of much encouragement and much influence in my life. And so without further ado, I want to introduce you and let her tell us her own story to Miss Lyanne.
Hey guys, so my name is Lyanne Nanette, and I am the founder of Ready Reset Grow, which is a for-profit coaching, very personal development company that encourages women to kind of live outside of their box and to heal their own heart so they can be the women that God has desired them to be. A little bit about me, I struggle within the criminal justice system, and I had to take the necessary steps to heal my own heart and to make sure that I set myself up to be successful moving forward. And most definitely it's been a journey, but I'm interested in growing every day. And so I'm here with Danny, just you ready to dive in?
That's great. So me and Lyanne have history.
A little bit.
A little history. So let me set up the history between me and Lyanne. Back last year, I was fortunate enough to receive a grant, a college grant, to go to TSU under the Anthony Grace Smart Bureau's grant. What this grant did is they looked and interviewed hundreds of people that have been formerly incarcerated, and they chose 7 of us. And what they did is they hired the professor over communications.
Yep.
To turn us into professional speakers using our lived experience to go out and make a living.
Right.
So Anthony Grace is an amazing person.
Amazing.
Anthony Grace stayed on death row for over a decade.
Yeah, a long time.
And he was there wrongly convicted.
Right.
And when his case was overturned, one of the things he did when he came back to the community is he wanted to see the system and the laws change.
Right.
So he worked with TSU and the ACLU, and they created this format strictly curtailed for formerly incarcerated men and women, which I like to call returning citizens. So for every Saturday for months, for a semester, we would go in and they would bring in professional speakers and all this support group to teach us to articulate our stories.
Yes.
And I'm so amazed, and I wish I could name all the people that participated. I should have had a list now, but I want to move on to another influencer that's here with me. Oh, I didn't tell how I didn't connect the dots.
You got to connect them.
So here's a connected dot to Lyanne being here as an influencer with the Encourager. So we got ready to graduate because my parents are not here, my grandparents are not here, and I'm from Texarkana, and I don't have a lot of support relatives here in Houston. I just started going on Facebook and inviting people to come to my graduation. I use, I'm a Facebook fan. I believe in social media big time.
Right.
So I'm inviting people, and I get in the inbox, I'll come, Danny. I'm like, for real?
I will.
I will. So Lyanne shows up for the graduation,
I did.
takes pictures, and she films my speech. She
Wow.
films
He
me
did an
coming
amazing
in.
job, by the way.
No, but think about it. Out of all the people in the world, see, I don't like to, I'm not gonna hyper spiritualize anything, but sometimes it may not be a family member that be there for you.
Right.
I got a pastor in the house. I don't want, if I mess up any scriptures, I said it wrong, he gonna correct me. But
Don't.
sometimes they say a friend can be closer than a brother.
Right.
Did I mess it up?
Theoretically, yes. No, you got it. You got it semi right.
Now, if I gotta
It's,
tell the
it's,
scripture, I gotta Google the scripture.
it's correct.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lion was there, and so a year or so later, when I thought about this opportunity and this platform, who did I want here to support me? It's like my God conscious pointed like, you got to get Lion.
Aw.
You got to pay it forward. You got to use this platform to share it with her. She was there for you.
I appreciate it.
So I appreciate that.
Aw.
That's cool beans. So the other influence in the room with me, we like to call, although he self-described himself as the bow tie preacher. And I'm going to let him tell a little about himself.
Well, most people do call me the bow tie preacher, but my name is Herb Addison. I am a pastor. Now I am a pastor. I used to be a youth pastor, and I was the youth pastor of two great churches, Covenant Glen United Methodist Church and St. John's Downtown United Methodist Church. And now I currently have taken my first appointment as the senior pastor of Bethlehem United Methodist Church. I'm currently writing a book called From a Prison Cell to a Pulpit, and it is a story of a young guy growing up on the north side of Houston, Texas, in the ghetto, Trinity Garden, Fifth Ward area, and coming from that, from dropping out of high school, going to prison, getting a GED, from getting a GED to getting an associate's degree,
Come on now.
from getting an associate's degree to a bachelor's, and then getting a master's degree.
Come on now. Hush your mouth.
And not only that, I am also a professor, not just a pastor. I currently have taken a position at Houston Community College. So my thing is that I always like to tell people, you can make it. It's just your will. You got to have a will to achieve your goals, and you have to set those goals. So that's a little bit about me.
Wow, that's
that's good.
amazing, man. Man, push you up.
That's good.
You know, that's just great. So I set it up to my relationship with Liane by telling it. I want you to tell the story of how the dots connect between you and the encourager.
Amen. So Danny probably is one of the most interesting people next to Pastor Rudy that I've met at St. John's. I met Danny and we immediately had a connection because I like the fact that he did not just call you an ex-con, he calls you a returning citizen. And that was the first time I had ever heard that term. So I was like, this guy here, he kind of fly, you know, and he always had all kinds of fly things to say. He always got, so I was like, yeah, I like this guy. And I was placed over so many things at St. John's. I was over the children and youth. I was managing the children's ministry, as well as over the youth ministry, as well as over the homeless ministry, as well as over the prison ministry that Danny was the director over. So I was able to come in, and basically, to me, they had me as a babysitter. Because to be real, Danny was running the program fine. He was, and I never had to go in Path of Freedom and say, y'all not doing this right, and Danny not showing up on time, and that. No, Danny was sold out to Path of Freedom.
Yeah, he's very informative. Very.
And that's how we connected, because I would sit in the Path of Freedom And I would listen to the stories and the fact that they would do letter writing, and I was writing letters and you writing letters. And I mean, that's real ministry. Because if people don't know, there are people in prison who don't get any letters.
Right.
And sometimes people even just write Kenny Copeland just to get a letter.
Right.
You know,
Because they know you're going to respond.
They
back.
know they know they're gonna get a response.
Yeah.
And see, this is real life, and people don't know real life. And so I thought that ministry was a great addition to St. John. In fact, I may be a little biased. I thought it was the best ministry.
Well, I'm going to be candid. I've got that same phone call for Pastor Rudy.
Yeah.
Pastor Rudy Ramos is the leader of St. John's downtown, along with his wife, Reverend Juanita Ramos. Both of these are amazing people. This church is the most unique experience I've ever had, and I grew up in the church. What's unique about this church is it was built on the idea of helping homeless people. It's the only church that sought out to bring homeless people from under the bridges to into their pews. Early on, St. John's Church, to get in the church, they had to walk over homeless people that slept in the doors of the church. And when the new members started complaining about the homeless people sleeping
Right.
in the pathway to get in the church, Pastor Rudy said, leave them alone. Let them sleep.
Yeah.
We don't know what they've been going through. Just bless them, pray for them, and try to encourage them. Some of the people that I personally know that slept outside of St. John's Church are housed today in a housing complex that was built next door to the church
Yeah.
based on a lot of donors. And the biggest donors was Beyonce, Kelly Rowland, and Beyonce's mother,
The Houstonians.
Houstonians.
Yeah.
And so we talked a lot about Path of Freedom, but we never said what Path of Freedom is. It's a support group for men and women returning from jails and prison. The mission is to change the prison cycle by reducing recidivism.
Right.
I believe I can make the case that when people return from jails and prison, most of us return to the same environment,
Right.
the same place
Yeah.
that led us to prison. So you can stay in prison 39 years, 20 years, 10
Right.
years. If you don't do something while you're there,
Right.
society hadn't did anything to prepare you to come back. The environment is not
yeah.
going to change. Now, gentrification, your neighborhood may not look the same.
A world that has completely changed since you went in.
Your cousin, Ray Ray, and Pookie, that still smoke weed and drink and hang out,
Right.
which I'm not demonizing their behavior.
Yeah.
But for you coming out of jail and prison on parole,
You need a different environment.
you can't turn up.
Yeah. Right.
You can't turn up. So this ministry is designed around change talk. It brings people in a room, don't offer any promises, except
Right.
we believe if we meet here every Wednesday and have a conversation around change and why is it important, that can be effective.
Yeah.
After spending 15 years in prison, I stayed there 15 years. It took me 26 years to come off parole. I used that package lived experience to tell a story, to get someone's attention, to make them say, oh, okay, tell me more.
Right.
But let me keep things going and flowing because the way time works. I want to set something in place to, early on I alluded that the theme of this show for me, influencers, is what happened
Yeah.
and how what happened got better. Pastor Herb has already told a little about his history.
Yeah.
He told what happened.
Right.
High school dropout, running the streets,
Right.
jail, GED, college degree,
Yeah.
master's degree. He's told what happened and what happened. So I'm going to use this right here to tell a story. Lion, what is this?
A rock.
Okay, you hold the rock.
I'll hold the rock.
Okay. So my earliest remembrance in life began with a rock. And my mother and me going to school, kindergarten, in my neighborhood, Texarkana, Texas. We lived 3 houses from the kindergarten. Every morning, my mother would wake me up to watch me walk to school, those 3 houses. What I would do is I would go outside and look for a rock. I would find a rock and I would have my mother stand on that rock. And if she stood up, put her foot on that rock, I would walk and not look back. But if she took her foot out, I would stop. I can't explain why, but as long as my mother stood on that rock, my little 5-year-old mind said I was safe.
Right.
But because she can't go nowhere, she got to keep her foot on the rock. If she take her foot off the rock, I ain't going. I'm coming back to her, and I'm gonna point down there. You gotta put your foot on the rock. And so what happened is, in my child mind, that remembrance of my relationship with my mother was built on me trusting her as long as she stood in a place where I believed that I could always see her.
Right.
But moving forward, I'm gonna move past my years in growing in high school. No, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna use another analogy, how a child mind forms these ideas and these belief systems early on. One of the things that set me on my life pace and what happened was it was built on a gold star. In kindergarten, when they put you in a room with all these different people, now remember I left my mother and I went into the classroom and you sit down. And the one thing I remember about in kindergarten is on the borderline they had all the alphabet. And then there was a chalkboard over there with the numbers with the magnetic board. So I'm remembering all these childhood images. But on another board, it had a roster with everybody's name on it. And during the week, the teacher would award good behavior with a gold star.
Right.
I would do anything
Reinforcing good behavior.
to get a gold star. When I saw the first person get a gold star and what they did to do it, right then in my little young mind, I was willing to do whatever it was to be awarded, to be recognized. And it started with just a gold star. But see, that gold star represented people that did things good, right?
Correct.
And then it made everybody in the class pay attention to them because you like, man, look at Kathy. Kathy got 4 gold stars. Most of us ain't got none. Somebody else got 1.
Right.
So I'm looking at Kathy, man, what is she doing? Man, Kathy, look at her little old test. She got A+. She getting A+ on everything. I said, oh, okay. So that's how Kathy getting these stars. On everything we doing, she getting A+. Right then, I tune in academically to whatever they teach you. If you give it back to them 100%, you're going to get a gold star. And from that point in my life, that trajectory from just a gold star and the attention and it gave you, or the validation it gave you, I always sought it out.
Right.
But what happened is, funny in life, sometimes the most deserved people, when we're growing up, are the most disrespected. And the people that act the biggest clowns in school are often the most respected. I'm going to set it up again.
That's true.
The most intelligent people and the smartest people,
Right.
it takes a turn in school.
Yeah.
So now the people that are not getting gold stars resent the gold star people, form cliques, and start demonizing
The
and
gold.
undermining
But are
the
they
smart
really
people.
winning though?
Well, see, we
Yeah.
child. Remember, I'm telling a story, and I'm a child, so I can't really decipher the
Yeah.
psychological and all the things about it. But I'm gonna
Right.
try to make the story move on. When I went into the military, I no longer had my mother,
Right.
but the military was set up almost like your parents, and
We had that
so
conversation.
right.
This
So I
definitely,
still
yeah.
had structure. But what happened to me was when I left the military, the transition from military life to civilian life, when I got out, there was no mother to lean on, and there was no military to lean on. So I set that up for people that have been into the military. They can allude that. Do we still have a caller? He's gone. So caller, go ahead and we have a caller on the phone. Hello, you're on the line with the encourager. How are you?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. This is Nick.
Oh, how you doing, Nick? Hey, Nick.
Hey, 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 hey.
So everybody, I want to welcome Nick, Miss Nick, on the line, and Miss Nick has a tale to tell.
Yes.
And if you see from our sign, you said it's still a sign that said "Boat to End Cash Bell." So we're going to take a roller coaster ride. We'll shift from what happened to me and how it got better, and we'll come back to that. But we want to talk about in Harris County, the last year, a federal judge gives final approval to Harris County bail deal. A federal judge has signed off on a historic bail reform agreement for Harris County, setting in place new protections for people accused of minor offenses in the county's third largest criminal justice system. What happened was this class action suit was on behalf of indigent defendants that the long-standing bail practice violated basic constitutional freedoms. Officials argued that it was a two-tier justice system that said in which freedom depended on whether a person had the resources to pay bail. A classism system, meaning that the people with wealth had access to get out of jail.
Financial discrimination.
So Miss Nick is going to tell us a story
Yeah.
about how the bail reform system and bail itself affected her life. Go ahead, Miss Nick.
Okay. Well, first, let me start off by saying I'm like a music industry vet. I've worked in the industry for about 20 years. I've also worked in elementary education, and right now I currently work for a bail bond. But in 2000, I was a victim of identity theft. A couple of years later, I was 8.5 months pregnant on my way to the doctor's visit, and I was pulled over because one of my brake lights was out. Now, when I was pulled over, the police officer, he ran my background, and he was like, before he ran it, he was like, I just want to tell you it's out or whatever, but if something comes up, we'll address it at that time. So when he ran my background, he found the identity theft stuff. He found a check still in the system. I advised the officer that I had proof that the person was arrested that did it. I didn't do it, all of that stuff, but I still was taken to jail at 8.5 months pregnant. I had to go through the entire booking scenario. I had to undress and get in the orange jumpsuit. I went through all of that, but I was innocent, okay?
Wow.
I ended up, because I was pregnant and I was on my way to the doctor, they decided to send me to the medical ward, and at that point I was freaking out because there were no bars. I couldn't see through the bars. It was just strictly brick wall. That's it. So on the inside, I was screaming and freaking out, but then I was trying to be a thug on the outside. It was real tough. So then, from that point on, they were like, we're going to go ahead and send you to the hospital because you were going to the doctor because you're pregnant and we can't really treat you here.
Right.
So I ended up having to ride in the paddy wagon to Bentov Hospital.
Not the paddy wagon.
Yes.
Yep, the paddy wagon. They had me locked up.
No, to Ben
I'm
Taub.
telling you,
To
like I
Ben
said,
Taub.
they
She
just-
said Ben
Yes,
Taub.
to Ben Taub. And then they rolled me through the emergency room in front of all the emergency
As a
room
criminal.
patients.
Right. Yeah.
There was no little back door, no side door. They just rolled me right in front of all those people. But because of my background and because of who I was, and I had the money, I bonded out. But my
Say that
thing
again,
is,
because you had what?
because I had the resources, I was able to bond out.
Yeah.
I had to get an attorney. I had to go through the whole situation, even though I was innocent. But my thing is, there's so many other innocent people who are still incarcerated and who have been incarcerated for years, and they're innocent, but they just don't have the funds to get out.
Right.
So they're losing their marriages, they're losing their jobs, they're losing their homes, all because they're innocent, but they don't have the money to prove that they're innocent, or they don't have the money to pay for a bond. So it's not fair.
So
The
again,
process-
from the time that the officer pulled you over until the time you made bond, how much time was that?
Yeah.
Was it
It was
hours
about-
or days?
It was
Days.
about a day and a half. But, that was tough for me.
So I have another
tough.
question. What was your bond set at?
I think they had to, maybe, let me see. I believe it had to be like 15,000 or something like that,
So-
because I believe the down payment was like 1,500 to get out, and of course I never got that money back.
So educate us. I want you, but
Yeah.
so educate us, because what the listening audience don't know, that the irony in this is, who do you currently work for? You don't have to say their name, but what industry do you work in?
I work in the
Bail
bail
bonds.
bonds industry. So it's like really crazy that it came full circle. I went through that situation and now I'm in bail bonds. But what I do is I listen to what's going on with the defendants, and I do my best to make sure that they're following all of the bond conditions and they're doing what they need to do in order to complete the bonding process without getting a bond revoked. I make sure that they go to court. I make sure that I'm a listening ear for them if they have any questions or if they have any fears. Because a lot of people, they don't understand how the bonding process works. Like whatever your bond is, you have to pay 10% of that. You're responsible for that 10%, and then because the bonding industry is going downhill because of what's happening now with the bail reform. So a lot of the judges, they're giving PR bonds instead of the bail bonds. So that means that the bail bond companies are losing money.
So how do you feel
Because
about
they're
that?
not eating.
So how do you feel about that? Because you're in the industry that is affecting your employer's bottom line, but at the same time, you've had the experience of how, if you wouldn't have had the money in the new bail form, the new system would allow you to go home without having to come up with $15,000 or $1,500. Am I right?
Yes.
Under the new guidelines.
It does affect the bottom line being money, but at the same time, I understand if somebody is in jail for a nonviolent offense or if they're in jail for something that they didn't do, wrong place at the wrong time, and they can prove it. I totally understand why a judge would want to give them a PR bond versus a regular bond, because for one, you don't get that money back. You're doing all this fighting to defend yourself, and you never get that money back. The only time you get that money back is if your people put down the down payment and you don't get out of jail. Then you can get your money back. But if they get you out of jail, you step foot out of jail off of a bail bond, you never get that money back. Your family never get it back.
Well, Miss Nick, we appreciate you calling in and sharing your real truth and your real experience. And I hope someone out there have been educated on how the system is broken in ways that hopefully some of the holes in the new bail reform system will change someone's experience and they won't have to live with the trauma you did. Thank you for your call.
Oh, no worries. If you need anything else, give me a call because I'm amazing.
So we have someone else on the call. Caller, just you on the line with Danny Sneed, the Encourager.
Hello, how's it going?
It's doing great. Who am I speaking with?
This is Sherwin Wright with the Inside Now
Oh.
Project. How you guys doing today?
How you doing? So Sherman, this is Sherman Wright, Executive Director Inside and Out Project. So how you doing, Sherman? Where are you calling from?
I'm doing excellent. I'm actually in Phoenix, Arizona right now on my way to Los Angeles.
How's the weather?
Nice. Nice. Warm, shorts, T-shirt, beautiful.
So tell us a little bit about Inside and Out Project and how does it relate to bail reform?
Well, what we do is we pay bail for first-time nonviolent offenders
Say that
from
again.
financially.
You do what? You
We
pay
pay
it.
bail. We pay bail for first-time nonviolent offenders from financially disadvantaged families. We also provide them with a support strategy throughout their legal process and offer resources for them for education, employment, rehab, counseling, and legal assistance. And we also provide transportation for them to and from court if needed, and also transportation to prisons for the families of those that are incarcerated.
So you telling me that people that have loved ones in prisons, you guys will offer transportations for them to go visit their loved ones?
Absolutely. All you have to do is go to our website, sign up, and yes, we will take you out there to visit
So
to help reunify.
so give us your website for the Inside and Out Project.
It's insideandoutproject.org.
And that's,
Insideandoutproject.org.
are you guys nationally or are you just here locally in Houston, Texas?
Well, we're working with Harris County currently, but we're looking to expand to Arizona, California, Florida, and Ohio. But primarily, we've launched in Harris County right here in Houston, Texas.
Well, I think it's amazing. I don't think it's another organization in Houston that you
haven't
know
heard
of,
of one.
Pastor Herb, that's offering families bail
No,
on
not,
first time.
not at all. As a matter of fact, I want to just say this is wonderful because this is what true reform is about. Oftentimes people use that word reform, and when you use that word reform, that means you need to change something. And so
Right.
when we talking about reform, this is helping. You notice that he said we provide bail, but
Right.
also education.
Right.
So
Yes.
you can't just give somebody freedom without educating them and helping them to stay free along the
Right.
way. He also said they provide rides. They
Right.
provide all of these different services. So this is true reform. So when people talk about reform in any matter, whether it's prison reform, whether it's education reform, this means to change something, and that has to come along with support. So I really like what they're doing with that, because even when families, it's important for families to reconnect when guys go in prison.
Yeah.
This helps the
Yes,
prison.
Yeah.
So here's are you guys a 501c3 company or 50 or
501c.
Yes, we are a
501c3.
nonprofit. I will say this, though.
okay?
We are a nonprofit company. Our determination letter is pending, but it's expected to arrive very soon. But we're operating under a fiscal sponsor currently.
You know
But
what?
yes, we will be 501c3 very soon.
That's awesome.
I wanted to ask him a question. I know that you provide transportation to the inmates for family members. What kind of advocacy work do you have to make sure that whether like the teenage kids or the young adults stay connected? I think honestly that gap sometimes can be hard to see your parent incarcerated at the most pivotal time in your life. What does the
Right.
Inside Out Project do to advocate for those kids?
Yeah, we actually have an entire youth outreach program, and that's designed to help at-risk kids,
Yeah.
keep them out of jail. And we also offer counseling for them, peer support, mentorship, to help them to adjust to what they're going through. Because
Right.
somebody going to prison, it doesn't just affect that person; it affects
The
their
whole
entire
family.
their children.
Everyone.
Yeah, so
So Sherman,
definitely try to
Sherman,
address
before you
all
get
of
off
that.
before you get off the line, give us your website so people here in Harris County can reach out and learn more about, especially about the transportation program. I'm sure there's someone out there
Yeah.
right now saying, "I want to go visit my son. I want to go visit my
Right.
daughter. Mom, I want to go visit my
My
daddy."
dad.
So what's their website
Right.
again?
insideandoutproject.org. And
Well-
that's all spelled out. The "and" is spelled out.
Man, push you up for doing.
Insideandoutproject.org.
Well, push your organization up for taking the lead and not waiting for the government to come in and fix things. Thank you for your call.
Yeah, most
Thank
definitely.
you for your
Thank
time.
you.
I really appreciate it.
All right. So Lion, we have another call
Go for it. Who's on the line?
with the encourager and the bow tie preacher. Caller?
Are you there?
So, one of the things that I have to get this out, and this is my moniker. God turned my wounds into wisdom
Yeah.
and purpose. And I had a dentist that was getting ready to pull my tooth, and I almost had tears in my eyes. And she said, Danny, why are you so upset? I said, man, I've lost a lot of things in my life that hurt me. I lost my job, my car, and even my wife to a drug, away, the cocaine life.
Danny, you can give up a tooth.
So seriously. So when she said it's not the front, we're gonna take you back to, we're gonna give you a retainer and everything. She said, but I ain't never seen somebody so distraught. I said, man, these teethuses,
Did you say
these
teethuses?
it's my smile.
But it's in the back. Nobody's seeing the back tooth.
But
Danny.
it was personal to
Okay,
me.
gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna let you live on the tooth.
It was a part in life I had experienced a lot of things.
Right.
Incarceration had nothing to do when it came to when I was in that session. She said, I'll pull you to. So here's to make a long story short. So you know when they put in tooth, you keep going back to the dentist. So you gain a rapport with the receptions and all of this. So one day she said that all of them was in there, and I guess it's my personality, and they trying to calm me down. And I said, y'all just don't understand.
You cried?
My smile
is
my style.
You do have an amazing style.
I said, my smile is my style. If
Yeah.
I lose that, what do I have? I said, I can walk in the room and have no money. Nobody knows I've been to jail and prison.
Right.
Nobody knows my struggle because I don't wear it. And when I walk in the room, I like, man, I own everything. Like nothing's wrong. My smile is my style. You know what my dentist did?
What?
A year later, after I stopped going to her, some people kept telling me, your dentist is looking for you. Because it was through the gold card, you know, the system.
Yeah.
You know.
Was it through vets?
Because you know, I came through the struggle.
Right.
So, you know, I came through the struggle.
Yeah.
So they, through the struggle, in the world, the people with the least are able to get the most sometimes.
Sometimes.
They're eligible for the most.
Sometimes.
So the resources are designed for the people that are most needed. And at the time, I was in that category. So dental and a lot of resources for men and women returning from jail or prison are available. But they don't come get you. You got to go to them.
Right.
So some of the guys that knew me that was going through that resource, I wasn't using them anymore, saying, your dentist is looking for you. They said, you got to sign your name. And they was explaining, what sign? What are you talking about? One day I took the time to go to my old dentist's office. I walked in the dentist's office. It was a big sign in the dentist's office, and it said, my smile is my style. And my name was up under it, Danny Sneed. And I said, wow.
That small impact.
So what she said, I never forgot that. And when people come in, I tell them, man, your smile, you know, that's your style.
Yeah.
That's why you should have good dental care and take care of your teeth.
Well, it is the gateway to everything else, is because if your mouth is not healthy, your body is not healthy.
So do we have any callers?
Hey, good afternoon, Danny.
Oh, this is Danny Sneed. Who am I speaking with?
This is Greg Fulton.
Oh, Greg.
Oh, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Everybody knows Greg.
I do know Greg.
Greg's a veteron. I wish I had my flag. Let me see.
Yeah, that's okay.
Hold on, Greg.
Okay.
Greg is a vet, and he's so
Greg.
stylish.
Hold on, Greg.
Yeah, there you go.
So Greg is a veteran.
Yes, he
And
is.
so you know what, Greg? Thank
Army
you.
veteran.
Look, thank you for your service.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Danny, I'm excited because I just was listening to the guy talk about the 501c3. And so, first of all, I want to give a shout out to Memphis, Tennessee, all my friends and family in North Memphis. But, so last year, God allowed me to write my first book. And what I did, I put together a book that I've been working with this for about 20 years. So I put
Yes.
together a manual, a small instruction guide. It's called a toolbox, 501c3
Made
made easy.
easy.
Oh,
And
look, I just happen to have a copy.
yes,
What? Look, I just happen to have a copy right
yeah,
here. It
right.
says,
Well,
it got your name on it, Greg
there you
Fulton.
go. That's me. That's me.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Who
yeah,
knew?
yeah. And so, Danny, with this man, with this book, I want to help and give people what is called working tools.
I'm
And
listening.
I got 7 working tools. Is patience, preparation, passion, process, purpose, potential, and power.
Okay.
That's my 7 working tools for the entrepreneur that want to start their business. So I kind of put that together. It's an easy read. Got all the updates and information in it necessary to start your 501c3.
Look, let me read.
Yeah.
Let me
Yeah.
read some of the chapters. This is only 10. It won't take me. I can go through them quick. One says the difference between nonprofit status and tax exempt status. Different types of 501c3s. Having a clear vision for the mission. Having a team that supports your vision. The restrictions you will face. Funding to start your organization. The benefits of having a 501c3. Examples of different charitable organizations.
Yeah.
In Chapter 9, types programs you can set up by using 501c. And last, in Chapter 10, networking with other 501c3s, community services, organizations, and businesses. Man, it's an awesome,
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, while you're on the line, I would like you to give us a short, brief description of what a 501c3 is, because everybody don't know what a 501c3
Okay.
is.
Okay, this is a short.
That's a good question.
A 501c3 is a portion of the U.S. Internal Revenue Code that allows for federal tax exemption of nonprofit charitable corporations that are set up with the intent to provide service. Now, for example, a 501c3 takes a nonprofit and gives them tax exempt status. And tax exempt status is the difference between having a nonprofit versus 501c3.
Okay. That's good.
Well, Greg,
Great.
again,
I
thank you for your
know.
service.
great.
I got another call, man. It's amazing. Again, congratulations
Yeah.
on providing a toolkit
And the book is so thin, like it has to be
for
impactful.
people that looking for a way to create their own 501c. Thank you, Greg. God
Thanks,
bless.
Greg.
So, caller,
All right.
we have another call on the phone. You're live with the encourager, the bow tie preacher, and the sassy Miss Lyanne.
Hello,
What's
caller.
Hey, Brother Danny, this is Dr. Chisholm.
Oh, wow. My mentor is on the line.
Dr. Chisholm,
Dr. Jonathan
Rice
Chisholm.
graduate.
Man, y'all looking good. Y'all look
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. Thank
Bow
you.
tie.
Just tell the truth, the bow tie preacher look good. Yeah.
So,
Sister, Miss Nanette.
okay, Lyanne, Miss Lyanne.
Howdy.
So can I set it up? Can I set up who we're talking to on the phone?
Absolutely. I'll follow your lead.
Okay, so on the phone is the founder of the Path of Freedom
Path of
Ministry
Freedom
that
Ministry.
was originated out of St. John's downtown.
Yeah.
The program designed to change the prison cycle by reducing recidivism. Pastor Chisholm back in 2009 thought that he went to the church and thought that when Pastor Rudy alluded to marginalization in the community and in the world, he felt like some of the people that have been overlooked
Yes.
are those who are incarcerated,
Yep.
and more importantly, those returning back into our community. He made it his mission to create something, a lighthouse or a beacon or change vehicle for these men and women to come and welcome into the community of St. John's.
Yeah.
He led that ministry up until maybe for about 7 years.
Long time.
He took me out to lunch one day and said, Brother Danny, I have to go back into the work community. I have my master's degree, my doctor's degree now. I got a family to support. And when I go look for a job, I can't guarantee it's going to keep me here in Houston, Texas.
Right.
But because God is who He is, and I'm not hyper spiritualizing this.
But He's amazing. We can say that.
God is amazing.
Right? Amazing.
The job offer He got was right here in Houston.
Amen.
God.
And currently, what do you do? Where do you work?
I'm at the University of Houston downtown.
And what do you teach?
I'm an African American history professor.
Yes.
And
Civil rights movement and a number of other courses.
Yes. The
Amen.
30
and you're
journey of
also
Martin
an
Luther King.
author of Saints in the Struggle and 30-Day Journey with Martin Luther King
Yes.
I
Jr.
need those books.
Let me see, I gotta get him.
Gotta get that book.
There it is right there. There it is. I was fortunate enough this Sunday to hear him give a sermon pertaining to and honoring Dr. Martin Luther King.
Where was he preaching at?
At
Riverside.
Riverside.
Hey, I didn't see that advertisement. I wish I would have saw that advertisement.
So tell us a little bit, how can we get these books?
Well, both of those books are available online through Amazon, through the major booksellers.
Amen.
You can just type the titles in to the search.
Okay, so you can just type the title in, Saints in the Church by Jonathan
Saints in the
Chisholm.
Struggle and 30-Day Journey with Martin Luther
Saints in the
King.
Struggle.
30-Day Journey with Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
To be total disclaimer, not only he's my mentor, he was a facilitator when I got married.
Really?
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah,
Amazing wife.
yeah.
Love her.
He's awesome. It's not enough time for me to say all the good things about this man. But I tell him, when he left the ministry and left me in charge, I have yet to been able to fill his shoes, but his socks I wear perfectly.
Yeah. I think I
That's-
can
I got some socks on.
This guy got some
I got some
way
socks
to
on. I
work.
He
got
has a
some
different
socks on.
outlook on life,
Yeah.
right?
Man.
Different, completely
Yeah.
different outlook on
Amazing.
life.
I'm proud of you, and I'm grateful.
Well, thank you for calling in and supporting the
Yes.
Well,
encouraging.
hold up.
Oh,
Dr. Chisholm, I want an autographed copy. I can order online, but I want an autographed copy from the doctor himself.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll have to let you know when I'm having another book signing. I think we friends on Facebook, and we can make that connection for sure.
Sounds good.
My website is www.jonathanchisholm.com.
Okay.
And if any other caller wants an autographed copy, you can send me an email, and we can make arrangements.
That sounds great.
So I don't know. Okay, thank you so much, man. God bless you.
God bless you, man. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. So I got a couple of books here written by a good friend of mine named Joseph Clark. And Joseph is amazing. I was hoping he was listening to the show. I texted him and told him, but if you listen to the show, I have both your books here. I bought about 10 books from different authors. But the reason I bought these books is I know these people personally.
Right.
It's not someone that I just went to Walmart and just picked up the book, but and some of these books I have are written by people that have been formerly incarcerated. One of the most amazing person I met is named Mary Gilder, and she wrote a book called
Love her.
Even a Man
can have a broken
Can
heart.
Have a Broken Heart.
My God.
I'm gonna say it again. Even a
Yes.
man can have a broken
The
heart.
documentary is coming soon, so be on the lookout.
And do you know
for that.
anybody? Do you know anybody person that's in the documentary?
Yeah. Well, I do know a lot of the people that are in the documentary. So you just gotta.
Hint, hint. Could you like name drop somebody you may know that's in the documentary?
Well, Spencer Foreman's in.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the documentary.
You're in the documentary? No.
No, I am.
Well, you are. Yes, but I mean, you're here, so. But you know that you should
I
have
want
plugged
to be
it already.
plugged. I want to get a plug.
You wanna get a plug?
I want to get a plug. So if you go online
Yes.
and look up "Even a Man Can Have a Broken Heart," support the documentary because I'm going to be in it. But that's not the only reason you want to support it.
Yeah.
Because it's a great tool to open up the thoughts in the mind of how men think and how we can express the fact, man, you know what? We can experience brokenheartedness.
Absolutely.
We go through stuff.
Men go through stuff.
Men go through stuff.
Yeah.
And she also wrote another book called A Misrepresentation of Myself. And you know what? I would be remiss if I didn't do this. My wife wrote a book.
Yes.
And the name of the book is, and she wrote this book back in 2004. And my wife is my classmate, Stephanie Sneed. So when I was released from prison, I wanted to write a book. And so someone said, your classmate wrote a book? I'm like, who? They said, Stephanie wrote a book. So I called her. And before I called her, I went to the bookstore and bought her a book. And I read it. And then I called her on the phone. And I was like, Stephanie,
He had to have
your
something
book is
to talk
amazing.
about.
And then I was like, will you help me write a book? She said, sure, Danny. You know what I'm saying? But,
So sweet.
But I scared her because I'm so excitable. You know, she was like,
You're on 10.
You too, you know.
You was a little too much.
Too much. That was in 2004. I think Facebook wasn't around, right?
Yes, Facebook.
In
was.
Yeah, it was
2004?
around.
Was around.
No, they was doing MySpace.
Well, MySpace
okay,
MySpace was
Yeah,
around.
there was MySpace.
MySpace was around.
Because the phones, we weren't texting on phone
was
yet.
it? Yeah, we were
Yes, we
texting.
were BlackBerry.
But we were
yeah, I had
texting, but we didn't
BlackBerry.
have
I had BlackBerry.
We didn't have Instagram.
Yeah, none of
Snapchat.
that.
That's
No.
terrible that we don't know when Facebook started.
Well, what I'm saying is people started using MySpace before
Yeah,
Facebook
MySpace
took
was
off.
first.
I never had a
So
MySpace page.
let me give a plug because we don't have 5 minutes. I got to tell this story. This amazing story. The reason I love social media so much is I've met my wife on Facebook. 2004, we never did make the connection with her book, and her book is called How to Become a Submitting Matron. And every time me and my wife have a disagreement,
You refer back to the book?
no, I don't say nothing. I just, I get the book and I just do like this, and she come in there, I'll be like this here. That's what she said. That's what she said.
Silly.
That's what
so
she said.
silly.
So that's what she said. So I'm gonna let that go. So we only have 5 minutes to go,
Yes.
and go ahead.
I wrote 2 books.
And you didn't bring them.
I didn't know you was giving
Shout outs on the book.
shout outs on books. But I
Gotcha.
have a book that is currently out that I wrote not too long ago called Wisdom Unleashed. It's a daily devotional. And I did a daily devotional for youth called Hallelujah, Holla Back.
Okay.
And both of them are great. Right now at my church, we are teaching Bible study on Wisdom Unleashed, and they are loving this
Loving
study.
it. Loving
So
it.
while you're talking, give a shout out to the people that are watching. Barack Obama said, no one gets to the top without someone help them and get there. Who are the people that you look and inspire to and want to give a shout out to that elevated you to where you are?
It's so many people I would have to give a shout out to, but I'm gonna give a shout out to the 2 people that I believe that really made an influence on my life professionally, and then personally, I will give a shout out to those 2 people. My
You got 3 minutes.
pastor, Dr. Robert Childress, he allowed me to be over the youth ministry fresh out of prison when nobody thought that was a position I should hold.
Yeah.
And then the lady who was over the youth ministry at the time, Pastor Linda Davis, she did that. And you cannot give props to, can't leave without giving props to your mother and your wife. Because my mother held me down in prison. I got a letter every week.
Praise God.
You know.
So,
Praise God.
So Miss Shine.
Miss Shine, okay, I guess, we live in such a social media world, so I feel like if you're on my social media, if you follow me on Facebook or we're friends on Facebook, it's for a reason. I'm very intentional, so I love everybody. Thank you for all the support. But there's this one particular woman, her name is Jackie Walter. She is an OBGYN in Atlanta, Georgia. You may know her, she's from Married to Medicine. She said something to me in 2012 that has stayed with me for so long. She says, if you keep on running, you'll be running for the rest of your life.
Wow.
And for me, that hit home, and I left the office crying just because it just wasn't working out. So if she's listening, or if someone, I mean, I could probably text her, but I just thank her. I thank her for pouring those simple words into me to stop and turn and face my fears. So
Wow.
thank you for the encouragement.
Okay, so here we go.
Oh my God.
Earlier we had a call from my homeboy Ronnie Burks. I want to shout out to all my classmates from the class of 1982 in Texas High, Senior High, all my family and friends that tuned in from Texarkana, Texas,
Yeah.
all my local family support, and I also want to thank Jerry Jones for getting rid of Jason Garrett and hiring a new coach. I really, really want to thank him for doing that. Also, every Wednesday in the Path of Freedom, when we do our check-in, we're asked to give 3 things we're grateful for before in our check-in, and I always start off with I'm grateful for my recovery, for to be able to say that I'm in long-term recovery, that I hadn't found a reason or idea or thought or suggestion good enough for me to put a chemical in my body that changed the way I feel since 2005.
Right.
2, I want to thank the fact that I wake up and still have the desire to do work like this.
Yeah.
And it has nothing to do with me, but to help someone else. To think of this book right here, The Purpose-Driven Life by Rick Warren, you only read the first page. It's the first 3 words. It says, not about you. Thirdly, for having God put someone in my life that I don't have to do all this stuff by myself, and that's my wife, Stephanie Sneed. Remember this. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Thank you for tuning in with the Encourager and the Encourager Hour. I want to thank my influences, the Bow Tie Preacher, Pastor Herb.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
And the People's Champ, the Ladies Champ.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, Miss Diane, the Ladies Champ.
Right.
It's going to represent women's issues. Going to keep men in check. Let you know to get your life straight.
No gray sweatpants.
Right, and don't wear sweatpants in public.
Gray sweatpants.
Let these guys wear that gray sweatpants.
Don't wear sweatpants in public.
No gray sweatpants.
If that's the case, women can't wear tights.
I agree with that.
Right.
You only get one chance to make a good impression.
Yeah.
And we hope we make a good one on you. God bless.
God bless.
That girl say no gray sweatpants.